What is up, NFC West football fans, and welcome into another edition of the NFC West Roundtable powered by BetUS. Week 10 is in the books, and tonight we turn the page to Week 11, where we have two games within the division to discuss. Mike's top place Arizona Cardinals are on a much-deserved bye. We have an interdivisional showdown that could shake things up dramatically when it comes to the standings that are currently in the NFC West. And we have a game for Jake's Rams where it better be a W, because if not, I have a feeling that all of LA fans will hit the panic button instantly. So with that said, let's hop into it. Let's bring in the fellas and preview Week 11. Boys, it's good to have you, and we're going to get right into it. And we're going to start with that game I just mentioned, and that is Jake's Rams. Jake's coming off a loss already in this AFC East, and he's trying to avenge that loss with the worst team currently in the AFC East. Right now on BetUS, the Rams taking on the New England Patriots on the road are a 5-point favorite. The Patriots come off a game that I don't know if anybody expected. 19-3, they beat the Bears. The Bears have completely imploded. Drake May's starting to show some signs of being able to be a considerable starter in this league, despite the lack of talent around him and obviously the rebuild in New England. But this game for the Rams, it is a must win, and it's in a spot where they definitely should win it. Currently a 5-point favorite right now on BetUS. If you want to get in on that game or any of the Week 11 games, all the lines are currently up on BetUS. Just use the promo code YouTube150. That'll get you a 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first deposit, and 125% bonus on your next two after that. All right, so the Rams, 5-point favorite. They were a favorite against the Dolphins on Monday night at home. They weren't able to get it done. Got to get it done this upcoming weekend against the Pats. Brandon, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the Rams going into New England? Are they going to be able to get it done in a game where they definitely should?
On the surface, it looks like a game that they should be able to take with at least like a touchdown and win. But when you look a little bit deeper at it, this Patriot defense is a little bit underrated in how they play. And they've got a lot of kind of what I call weapons defensively to give you problems, and certainly to give those creative fronts that we've seen give that Rams offensive line issues at times, especially when to start bringing the blitzes. It's also a 10 a.m. game, which I don't have to tell any of us West Coast teamers here that it's hard in those 10 a.m. games on the East Coast. You're just not ready sometimes to roll. It's a short week for the Rams. In addition to that, they've got to find a way to run this ball. Me and Jake were talking in the prior show about using some more of those fly sweeps and manufacturing some more things offensively to make this happen. If you can't get it done just like how you're doing it now, which is kind of just banging your head against the wall going, we'll just work it a cup, we'll work it to Puka, we'll hammer the ball up the middle, and we'll roll with that. You got to adjust. But I think it is a close game. I think the Rams are able to pull this out because there's a little bit more of that desperation factor, and they know the urgencies that it's at play here in this game. But I would be very worried for a Rams offensive line that's 30th in pass protection right now, for this Patriots front that they throw a lot of multiple stuff at you. Mayo never send seemingly the same look at you any one given time. And I think that might give the Rams some issues. So I'll still call that you guys get the win, Jake, because I just don't think you're going to let this one slip away. But boy, I think it's like a 2017 game when it's all said and done.
Yeah, if the Patriots have similar success rushing the passer like the Dolphins did, it could be a struggle for the Rams offense in this upcoming game. Jesse, how do you see this one going down? Rams obviously got to have it. Did they get out of there with a W?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. I think the Rams defense is starting to come alive, and we know that the Patriots are a bit anemic offensively anyways. So it's going to be one of those games, but it comes down to what the Rams can do. And like Brandon said, short week. One thing I do like, though, is that usually when dome teams travel to play in maybe a colder weather area, a lot of times those teams don't travel. Well, Matthew Stafford and that arm does travel, so that is going for them. They need this win. They cannot lose. I think that desperation will be there. The desperation of some good players that have a Super Bowl and know how to win when they need to win. And I think they'll get it done. I'm going to go 23-13 Rams.
Mike, you got to be feeling good. Not only are you at the top of the division, but you get to go into a much-earned bye week and sit back and enjoy the games with no stress. You can kick back and watch these Rams. While you watch, are you expecting a W from LA?
Well, I mean, just to kind of, kind of shadow what Brandon and Jesse was saying, this is a much needed win here from the Rams. And there is definitely something to say to a team that has that in front of you. I don't think anybody was expecting the Rams to lose by the Miami Dolphins. Although I would love to say the Dolphins, I'm sorry, the Patriots would upset. I don't know. I just feel like that team in the Rams have enough to get this done. They should get it done, because if they don't, then panic mode for sure. So I'm just going to make this short and sweet. I think the Rams will take care of business. I would say the Rams win this game 17-10. It's not going to be a high scoring event, but I would say they get the job done.
Jake, you could have argued that Monday night, just based on how tight this division is, you could have argued that was a must win. But looking at it, you could potentially get away with it. You can't argue anything against this upcoming game. This is a must win. So do the Rams get it done? Do they get the W and stay alive in this division?
Yeah, I do think they get this done. I do think it'll probably start off like slow, because this is just how the offense is. But I think they end up winning 24-10. I think this defense for the majority of the game is going to give a lot of different looks up front. And I don't know what offensive line they're going to go with. I don't know if they're going to go back to their rookies, but Anthony Jennings is a problem. Okay. And so is Keon White and a lot of the other guys they have up front. And, it's already been said, by the panel here. I mean, Mayo knows what he's doing, and Sean McVay doesn't take anybody lightly. I mean, you listen to him talk about the Dolphins, like he knew going into that game, he's like, they are going to be a tough test. And yeah, he always gives credit to like every team. Like, oh yeah, they're a good football team, when we all knew the Raiders weren't like a good football team. But no, you could tell. And so I think he's going to know. And I look at this game, and I think it really comes down to, just play your style of football. I think it's really simple. If you can go back to what you did against the Vikings, or you could go back and, what you did against the Seahawks, that's going to be enough. But if you show up and play what you did against the Dolphins, if you just completely take away any sort of creativity in your offense, you might lose this game. And I'm also a big fan of Drake May, so I don't take him lightly either. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is an underrated running back. I know he puts the ball on the turf a little bit, but I really do like him. And I think Christian Gonzalez is really kind of the interesting thing here, because Gonzalez can take away one of your guys. I mean, Jalen Ramsey basically took away the entire deep part of the field. Say what you will. Obviously, the pass rush got there, Chop Robinson, all that. But Jalen Ramsey really made it so you could not even test deep down the field. And say you even beat Jalen Ramsey, you have Javon Holland. And that's where, I think the Patriots, they don't have a Javon Holland. They have some other guys, obviously, but they don't have a Holland. They have some interesting play. Isaiah Bolden is a player that I've always liked. He actually got to play a little bit against Chicago, looked really good in coverage. So this is definitely a team I'm not taking lightly. I think a lot of Rams fans will just assume this is a win. And I think it's just honestly kind of a coping mechanism, if anything. But the reality is the Patriots are going to give them their all, because the Patriots were trying to be buyers at the deadline. Let's not forget this. They were trying to trade for guys at the deadline. They don't look at this as their season's over, and they have no reason to. Like I've said, the AFC is wide open. Yes, they're 3-7. That sucks. You know who else was 3-7 and made the playoffs? The Jacksonville Jaguars. They actually won a playoff game, okay, with a young rookie quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. So I'll say this. I think the Patriots are going to give the Rams their all, but I think the Rams just kind of pull away in the second half. And 24-10 is how I see it. And I think the big thing for them is going to have to be to run the football. The Patriots have been giving up yards on the ground. I think they're not the best defense, but I do agree with what Brandon was saying. They're underrated, and they can be problematic, because when you try to throw the football, if Anthony Jennings is hitting your arm while you're throwing, well, I don't care if you have a grip made of steel. I mean, you might give up the football, and the Rams just can't turn the ball over, because turnovers allow any team in this league to steal. Why do we call it Any Given Sunday? It's because turnovers exist. That's why. I mean, any team at any given point, you just force, bad interception, guy drops it, doesn't hurt you. But when you throw that bad interception, the guy actually catches it, now you're giving them a chance. You're kind of getting rid of the whole chess match of, okay, well, if I punt it back to you, you're in your own territory now. deep in your own territory, but, you know, back against the wall essentially. But you get a turnover and now you kind of you shorten the field and everything. The Patriots are one of those teams, we've seen it this year in a few of their games, where they'll get that turnover and kind of change the game a little bit. And they're a pest. They don't go away. They're not like your stereotypical bad team. So yeah, I'm not overlooking them. I do think the Rams win comfortably 24-10.
Let's go from the 1 p.m. window to the 4 p.m. window, where we got one of the games of the day, an interdivisional showdown. The Seahawks on the road taking on the Niners. And I got to tell you, fellas, when I first saw this line, I was a bit stunned. The Niners are a 6.5-point home favorite. I know the Seahawks haven't been playing their best, but it's a divisional battle. Anytime you get over a touchdown, that just seems like a lot. Plus, the Seahawks are coming off of their bye week, and this is a game that they got to have if they want to have any hope of remaining in the dance in terms of winning the NFC West. So this is a huge game for both teams. Let's start with you, Mike. If it wasn't for Bills Chiefs, I feel like this could be the best game of the day. It just got so much riding on it. So with that said, who do you think sneaks it out? Do you think that the Niners win and keep pace with your Cardinals, or can the Seahawks make this interesting?
This is a good one, because I mean, yeah, you got the Seattle Seahawks fighting for their 2024 dreams, and then you got the 49ers to try to stay within the division race. And obviously you could say the same thing for the Seattle Seahawks as well, and that's how close the division is. I know this is a tough one. Something tells me to just lean on the San Francisco 49ers because they are who we all thought they are, right? But I mean, it's weird because like they're not, right? They're not the 49ers of last year. So I don't know. I think I'm going to put the upset on this one. I'm going to say the Seattle Seahawks are going to pull the win out on this one. I feel like the Seattle Seahawks have their back against the wall. Yes, it is in Santa Clara, but there's a lot of issues within that San Francisco 49ers. Debo getting crazy over there. The Jake Moody can't get a field goal to save his life, or at least consistently. So I'm going to go out there and say, wait, actually, let me ask this real quick. Is DK playing? He is playing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Seattle Seahawks win. Just to throw a wrench in the board. I'll say 27-23. I'll say Seahawks win.
Jake, Mike's taking the upset. What say you? You got a similar outcome, or do you think the Niners get it done?
My thing is, I think it'll be close for the start of the game. Going into the second half, I think the 49ers just at home, they got Christian McCaffrey back. I don't like betting against the 49ers. And I understand entirely the idea, like Seattle comes in here off a bye. They're feeling good. DK is going to play. He's expected to practice tomorrow, I think I saw. So I understand that sentiment. I think Gino's going to try to, drag him kicking and screaming. But they weren't able to run the football the last time they played the 49ers. Okay. And I don't know if they're going to be able to run it now. I think the 49ers are doing a better job at stopping the run as of late, which I think helps them. If this was in Seattle, I think there's a shot, but I don't like that this is in San Francisco for Seattle's sake. So I'm going to say the 49ers win this game, and I'll say they win it 27-21.
All right, Jesse, it's a big one. If we want to leap Mike's Cardinals, this would go a long way. So CMC's back. You got the W this past week. Can you keep it rolling against these Seahawks on Sunday?
Well, not only is DK back, but I believe Abe Lucas is going to be making his debut as well. And I mean, I don't care what form he is. He's better than anything they've had at right tackle. Yeah. So that's going to help them as well. But ultimately, I think both these teams do need to win. This is a must win right now. It is. The 49ers can't take another division loss. Like I said, if them and the Cardinals finish with the same record and they lose to Seattle or the Rams here down the stretch, the 49ers, they're going to lose the tiebreaker. So they need to win this game, and Seattle needs to win this game if they've got any chance. And I think everything points towards possibly Seattle winning this game. They're coming off of a bye. They're getting Abe back. They're getting DK back. The 49ers went from East Coast back to West Coast. So there's a lot of things, a lot of reasons here why you can say maybe the Seahawks win. JSN finally turning into what they had hoped he is, also with DK coming back. I mean, that just makes things a little bit harder. But ultimately, the 49ers own the Geno Smith version of the Seahawks. And Brock Purdy is to the Seahawks now what Russell Wilson used to be to the 49ers then. He's an absolute headache. And I just don't think that the 49ers lose to Seattle. So I'm going to go 27-20 49ers. And Geno's throwing at least one pick.
Brandon, you're coming off the bye. So this past week, when we did the Week 10 recap, we didn't talk a ton about your Seahawks. And I think because of that, people might forget that this team is still well within the thick of things here at 4-5, and a win here would really put them in the mix. So with that said, 6.5-point dog, what are your thoughts on your Seahawks in this game against the Niners?
Well, I think the game plan to attack Shanahan, the defense, both sides of the ball has been pretty similar over the last 7-8 times that they've owned us. I think, what is it straight, Jesse's 8 wins, 7 wins straight for the Niners over the Hawks. So the game plan really hasn't changed. It is, if you're going to run the ball, you got to run it up in the middle. We saw the Buccaneers trying to do against the Niners last week against that wide 9. It's a wide 9 defensive front that stretches out. So there's going to be natural gaps that are exposed there. The Niners play it well. The linebackers play it well to clean those gaps up, but that's where you got to attack. You're not going to get there to the edges on them. And then if you can't get that running style to go that way, you got to do also then what the Bucs did last week is then throw those pop passes out into the flat, turn those into manufactured rushes in the flat. If you're not making the rest of your offense go against this very potential stifling defense on the day, but we've got to run the ball. We got to not have the bad turnovers, which have also been a commonality of all these games recently that they've owned us on, where we've got to win the turnover battle or at least have it 0-0 on either side of it. And we've got to stop their running game. Those are the 3 components to me that really come down to whether we can win this game or not. And those are the 3 things that have failed at every turn over the last 7 or 8 losses that we've had to them. We've never been on the other side of any of those. So if we do almost those 3 things, keep the turnover batter okay, able to control the clock and run the ball, and then limit their rushing ability, I think we would be able to come out with a win. With that said, I think that they've had our number. I think that we're way too inconsistent this year. We don't know who we are still halfway into the year as far as our identity goes. And I just think that that's not going to be good enough against a team that is as good as San Francisco to win out on the day. So we probably lose 24-21 would be my prediction.
Mike, we'll wrap it up with you. You're going into the bye week as the top dog in the division. And the beauty for that, or the beauty of that, is that when you come out of it, the schedule lightens up compared to what it was going into it. So before we wrap things up tonight, talk to me about the state of your Cardinals going into the bye and what you expect coming out of it.
I expect the Arizona Cardinals to be healthier. We got Seattle Seahawks within 3 weeks coming back from the bye. So not going to be easy, especially because it's the division. But honestly, kind of what I expect with this team, especially how the schedule is being laid out, I could definitely see double-digit wins here for the Arizona Cardinals. As long as they take care of business is what I'm hopefully expecting from this Cardinals team. Now, kind of what we're hearing from Kyler and Jonathan Gannon, they're not looking too far ahead. That's the fans and the media's job to do that, right? To kind of see what they could have potentially accomplished, but I do have the faith that they are locked in every single week in and week out, and I don't expect that to change. That was one of the biggest recipes here for obviously the 4-game winning streak that we currently are at right now. We are a run-heavy team by James Conner, and that's just going to be the philosophy moving forward. Play really, really gritty football, and I'm excited to see what the Cardinals could do because we got 7 more games, and the division right now seems to be, I'm not going to say ours, but the path is laid out for us.
Well, you are in control, though. And one thing we can say about the Cardinals is they're going to go into the bye week as the first-place team in the West, and they will come out of the bye week as the first-place team in the West, no matter what happens this weekend. So
and that's the beautiful thing. We can just sit back and watch and have stress-free Sunday.
You're in pole position. Don't mess up.
I know. Not a bad spot. Like, not a bad spot. Well, there you have it, folks. The Week 11 predictions are locked in. Can't wait for next week when we recap what we saw in Week 11. In order to join us for that, or at least be notified to join us for that, like button on the way out if you could, but hit that subscribe button. That way we can let you know when we're live and you can hop in with us. Also, on the way out the door, YouTube 150 is the promo code over on BetUS. That'll get you 150% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit, and 125% bonus on your next 2 after that. For Brandon, Jesse, Jake, and Mike, I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much for tuning in to the NFC West Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next one.
Go Hawks.